We're not just getting one new Vision Pro, we're getting 3 and a ton of other new Apple products.
Welcome to the All Future podcast, where we talk all things Apple, tech, AI, and such throughout the week. And today we're getting into some Apple leaks. If you're subscribed, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching these videos. And today I'm joined by Andrew, our producer, who's also, every once in a while the co-host. So
Matt will be back next week, but I'm happy to be here today.
Yeah. So today we're talking about Apple and some new leaks. And some of these are products we've heard of, but some of these are a little bit more of a surprise. And the first one's one that I'm actually pretty excited about. And that is Apple's version of Apple glasses that are similar to the Meta Ray-Bans. So the reason I'm excited about this is because of cost and also just simplicity. It would, if it's like an equivalent product to that, we're talking just adding cameras and some AI functionality and like messaging and stuff like that that integrates with the phone. I would guess that you're also excited about this.
Yeah, my biggest complaint, I bought the Meta glasses when they first came out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I really had to wait for that AI update before they were really usable because they only did so much. I really like them. I think they're great headphones. I think they're great, cameras, whatever, cell phone quality. But, I think they're a great new tool to help you interact with the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest complaint I had was that it just doesn't interact with your messages or your phone calls in the way you want them to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just want this to be an Apple product. I'll pay more money for it to be an Apple product. I don't care if it's like Meta or something. Just make them like a little unassuming and then build them into these glasses. And it seems like Meta put enough pressure on them here with the Orion glasses and the success of their Meta glasses, because I think they're doing well, to actually come out with this product in the future.
Yeah. So according to Mark Gurman, the Apple Vision Products Group is now looking beyond the Apple Vision and considering launching smart glasses comparable to those Meta Ray-Bans. So first, I'm curious, do you think they'll do a collaboration, or do you think they will make their own glasses that have some sort of design? Because that is one thing that's cool about the Meta Ray-Bans is a lot of times you don't even know they are what they are, and they just look like Ray-Bans. But you would know that they're Apple glasses, which they'd probably want, but at the same time is, I don't know, half of the appeal is that they blend in. So do you think a collaboration, or do you think Apple's doing them from the ground up?
If I was Apple, this is tough because in my mind, I'm like, if I was Apple, I'd just buy a company and go like, we just bought Maui Jim or something. But the problem with the eyeglasses, if you guys don't know, is one company owns every pair of eyeglasses you've ever heard of for the most part. It's called Luxottica. They make sunglasses. They make Ray-Bans. They make Oakley. They own all the major brands. And so anytime you're, wearing a pair of sunglasses, it's made by this one company in Italy. And so to do that kind of collaboration, you really have to do it with Luxottica. There's no like buying a company out and doing it. And Ray-Bans are so iconic. Like the Wayfarers are the most iconic sunglasses in the world. So I don't know that they do it. I think they would just do their own version. But I would want them to do what Meta did and make Wayfarers, because I love Wayfarers. That's the sunglasses I wear normally.
Yeah, same. And like I said, that is kind of half of the appeal. It's like I'm just putting on Ray-Bans. It's not that I'm putting on these. And also, you can't quite tell there is, and that's not like you're secretly videoing people. You know, there's an indicator light to show that you're videoing people, and you can't block it, at least not without some effort. It won't let you take video. But yeah, they just blend right in. And for instance, I've been using them lately. I bought them as well before I went to Italy, and it was very nice to just be able to take photos and videos throughout the trip.
Oh, what were you doing in Italy, Ryan? We always have to remind people of this.
I was on tour with Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, nice.
And the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra, which is his jazz group. And I'm a drummer, so I was playing drums with him. We played 2 shows in Florence, and it was awesome. And obviously toured all around Florence while we were there. But I took tons of videos and photos with it. And then I even took some on stage playing drums. And, it's completely unassuming. I guess besides that little light, you just put them on, and it's not like you're strapping a GoPro to your head. And it gives this really cool point of view from playing the drums. And I just showed you a clip. I was using them last night. I played at the Baked Potato in Studio City. Great, like, hole-in-the-wall jazz club in LA. And took a little video there. And it's just, it gives you a view that most people are not used to seeing, but like that's my view when I'm playing drums. And you've probably done the same, right?
I have not. I was going to tell you this. I bought the Ray-Bans for this exact purpose. It's really hard to get social media content while you're playing an instrument. I also play drums. I also go on tour with my band.
What's your band's name?
Robert, John, and the Wreck.
How many albums?
I think it's like 15 at this point or
Wow.
something. But if you want to
check them out, Robert,
out.
John, and the Wreck.
Very not for tech enthusiasts, but it's okay. And I bought them for that exact reason, and I could never bring myself to put them on during the shows. I brought them, and I just didn't.
Well, yours are sunglasses too, right?
No, mine are just clear lens.
Oh, they're clear. Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like it's weirder just because I've never worn a pair of glasses in my life. And I feel like this is going to be a barrier to entry with people. I feel like people think smart glasses is going to be this category that's just going to blow up. But I think it's going to take some time because it really has to provide a benefit that you can't just do with taking a cell phone out. And yes, taking a cell phone out might take like 5 more minutes to accomplish a task, but versus wearing glasses that I've never had my entire life, it's kind of hard. So for that reason, to just not define like a new look for myself, have not been using them. I'm going to try to do it on this next tour. I'm going to Europe in like 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I will report back, and see how they did. Because also they didn't have the AI features when I was using them. And so that helps where it's just a digital tour guide, right? Like you're walking around, you go like, what castle is this? What is this? What's the historic significance of this?
Yeah.
I have changed my action button on my phone to be the voice chat in ChatGPT. That has been a game changer for me.
Yeah.
And so that was the most fun about having the glasses on, is you could just ask it questions as you feel like it. But I think that leads us into the next product, which is what's going to happen if people don't want to wear glasses. And this is a weird product that we've talked about it a little bit in the past, and everyone's like, this might be real and it might be fake, and it might be not anything in the way we talk about it. And that is AirPods with a camera.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious as to how this thing's going to look. We've seen weird patents in the past where it's like the camera isn't actually a camera. It's like an IR camera. And so it's trying to like get sent to your space so it can deal with the spatial audio in a better way.
Yeah.
Or, and like me in this instance right here, I have my hair to the side. I know all men don't have long hair, but all women, most women have long hair. And so that's going to be, an obstruction there. So how is the form factor of this actually going to look like? Is it going to be like a little tube that comes out of your ear?
Poking out, yeah.
Almost like a Star Trek device or something like that. Like, how do you think this thing's going to look?
I don't know, because it can't look that crazy. And it would have to be, I don't think I could picture Apple making non-symmetrical AirPods, or at least like not mirrored AirPods. So like it would probably be identical on both sides, because otherwise one ear has like a heavier thing, which is just going to be weird. But I don't know. I picture they would have to do something pretty simple. Like it would have to be basically the AirPods we have, or maybe just a little bit of an extension. And then, some sort of low quality camera or some sort of sensor that's just different, that gets them information that they need, but it's not like you're taking photos with it. And then it can understand your space. But still, if that's attempting to be that kind of thing where it's like, what castle is this? It needs a decent enough camera.
Yeah, you need like something to get it in. And I think the Ray-Bans have a decent enough camera in them. Like, so it might be, 720, really noisy, not good in low light. Like as things get darker, you're going to have a lot of problems, but like how are you going to fit it in there? Like what's it going to look like? I really, I'm just envisioning this like weird Star Trek level tube where you have this thing over your ear and it's like almost like this bigger device than we're thinking about.
Yeah.
And, we'll just see how this turns out and if it's what people are thinking about, because it's been on Gurman's watch list here for over a year. I think when we started this podcast, it was happening. So I am still a proponent for just putting a camera on an Ultra watch. I really think the first watch with a camera bump or whatever will look really different. And I think that will make it stand out in a way where every watch after that, you have an Ultra. Look how big this thing is.
Yeah, it's very large.
You can fit a camera on there without it being an issue. You could fit a camera bump on there without it being an issue.
Yeah.
And I think you could fit like like you do like the FaceTime camera, the front-facing camera on an iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
You could fit something like that in there without sacrificing a lot.
Yeah.
And you can use that thing to just point it at things and go like, what plant is this? Or like just those basic things where you don't have to take your phone out and look something up, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting... I think Apple's going to figure out something here, but the point you said about glasses is a good point, because if you're not used to wearing glasses, they are a certain, like, I don't know, it's like a layer that you're adding between you and the world. Even though they're clear, even though they're fine, there's just something different about taking them off versus putting them on. So yeah, I don't think every human is going to want to wear glasses if they don't have to wear glasses, regardless of capability, just because it's a clear thing that they have to wear. Maybe I'll be wrong in the future and everyone's going to be wearing them, but I don't know. So maybe there's going to be multiple form factors like you're saying, and maybe the watch is one. But the only thing is, like, those are just always pointed wherever you need, and you just look naturally, versus a watch. This is a little more obvious depending on how aimed you have to be. So I'm not entirely sure, but they're figuring out something here, and the Apple Vision team is working on stuff. But at the same time, they're also working on new Apple Visions. And so that's kind of one of them, is those Ray-Bans Apple glasses that will take some of the spatial learning that they've been doing for the Apple Vision. And also, you know, they've demonstrated visual intelligence with Apple Intelligence on the iPhone. So that's very much something that could end up in smart glasses in the future. But first, on the complete opposite end of the price spectrum, we have the Apple Vision Pro 2.
Yeah. So the rumors are that this thing is going to have an M5 chip in it. And I don't imagine how different it can be than the standard model. And me and Ryan are both Vision Pro owners. And we had mentioned this in the past, that I will be livid. I will be so mad if they decide to put Apple Intelligence in a new Pro and not the old one.
Yeah, it would be insane.
Devalue that product so much. It was so expensive, and it's still the top of the line. It's not like you're adding 6K screens in it. Nothing even supports any of those things that you might add to it. It is the best tech device out there. It just doesn't have a lot of use cases, you know?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot that you can do with it, but it's always, you're putting this big thing on your face, so you're not going to use it all the time. And then, I've never maxed out computing power on this thing, so I don't know, beyond just giving it a spec bump and keeping it up to date so that it's not like our flagship product has an M2 versus everything else has an M4. Aside from that, I don't understand why they would need this upgrade. I don't think anyone's maxing this thing out, especially yet.
Yeah, no one's asking for this. And so you might just need it in case someone wants to jump in. And really, if the pool of people was this small who bought one, no one's going to buy another one. Are you kidding me? Like, we have one already. Like, what else are we going to do with it? And I fundamentally disagree with the spatial computing aspect of it. This is still like a VR, AR device. Like, everyone has and owns a laptop that they know how to use already. Everyone has and owns, a VR device, and they use it for gaming and entertainment and those sorts of things. And you really need to give people like a better version of gaming and entertainment on the VR device to make them want to use it.
Yeah.
And not think about it so much as like like maybe it's a business device when people use it in NVIDIA's, like robot training things. I bet that, the people operating the Optimus robots, might have had some kind of version of something like an Apple Vision, and that will make sense in the future. But like, I don't want to use this thing as my computer, like with a keyboard and just like, it's not that much of a better experience. I like those things being in the physical world. And so it's really a movie watching device or like an entertainment device.
Yeah.
And you can really develop those things in a way where they're the best experience,
I do really like watching movies on it. It's really great. So yeah, you're talking about these different experiences being necessary, but I think the most obvious thing is the price has to come down. So the next one is the Apple Vision Air. And we've heard a variety of rumors on this, but the current rumor is they have a price target of $2,000, and it'll have less features than the Vision Pro. So
this is still insane.
Yeah, it's still very expensive.
That's like a maxed out MacBook Pro. Like, what do you what's the difference? Like, what are you going to do with this to justify a $2,000 price tag that the people who bought the $3,500 one aren't going to use already? And you're taking the coolest thing away, which is the 4K display.
Well, I think in here, it doesn't actually mention dropping the 4K displays to get to that price, which might be why it's still $2,000. It says omit certain inessential features such as eyesight, the eyesight display on the front. Have you ever cared about that?
It's super creepy.
Yeah, I don't think. I think they can cut that immediately. And then, oh wait, you know what? It does say larger, lower resolution displays for the more affordable version.
I think they probably got complaints about the field of view, which I care 0% about. Everyone says that about these like the field of view is so bad, but like, what's there to compare to it? Like a Meta Quest? Like it's not even. It's apples and oranges at that point, you know.
Yeah, I can understand how a bigger field of view is better, but if you're also having to sacrifice quality of the screen, I wouldn't want to do that.
Exactly, like or cost, you know, like okay, you can have a bigger field of view, but it's going to be $5,000 now, and even more cost prohibitive. No one wants that either. So
the other things are cheaper materials. Instead of aluminum and glass, they're going to go for cheaper stuff, which already makes sense just from a weight perspective as well. I think you kind of see that in certain other products as well, where weight really matters. Like in certain cars, it's like, oh wow, this part's plastic, or there's a lot of plastic in here, and it's like, as long as it's put together well and it's well constructed plastic, it's like it's actually helping keep the weight down of the car, which makes it more efficient and all that stuff. And when you're strapping this thing to your head, it's like, I love a good Apple build quality, but man, that thing gets heavy.
Yeah, it's the wrong place, you know. I understand why they would try to do that. You know, you don't want to feel like a $3,500 product is a bad build quality.
Yeah.
But yeah, really using this thing for an extended period of time, like wears on the neck, wears on the face. So
yeah, apparently Apple expects that they're going to sell about twice as much at this lower price point. But it is funny because Mark Gurman even said that's not saying much, because they're apparently going to struggle to hit 500,000 units sold for the year. And this came out in February. So, that it's selling about as we might expect for a $3,500 headset. They're hoping to sell more with an Air, but I guess, in the future, you're really going to need a real Air or a Lite or something to compete with its next biggest competitor, which is $300.
Yeah, the Quest just released the 3S, and it has like 80 to 90% of the features of the Quest. It's a little less in the hard drive, it's a little less in the processing power, but like it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah,
and it has all those features that you're using for spatial computing that people don't even want. Like no one's going. Well, there's a small fraction of people that care about spatial computing, that want like their crypto screens all over or something like that. But if you can do all the same things at like a slightly lower resolution, like, is it really the feature set that you're selling, or is it the screen that you're selling? You really have to know what people care about in the middle of this. And really, after using it for almost a year now, it's a screen. It's the screen that sells this thing and makes a difference between something else.
Yeah.
And that 3D experience that you need to make more fun or make more entertaining or make more thrilling or do something with that, where I have to give it to someone else and go, you have to try this out. There's nothing on there like that.
Yeah. Everyone that tries it is very impressed, but yeah, there's that immediate thing of like, okay, but why do I need this? Why do I?
Yeah, what does this thing do that's essential in my life or something?
It's amazing technology, but I don't know that I would actually need to use it regularly. And yeah, I've tried pretty much all the use cases. I've flown with it. I've tried cooking with it and having timers around me. I've tried just sitting and watching a movie. I've laid in bed with it. I've done I guess I haven't walked around with it in public, but I don't think you should do that. I think that's kind of crazy. So I've tried pretty much all the use cases. And yeah, I don't still have a use case that's like, this is why it's $3,500. Unless you're a huge movie buff and really want to watch it on the biggest, most impressive screen possible.
That's literally the best use case for it right now. And I would say that if you are a huge movie buff and you would have spent, like $4,000 on a 100-inch TV, that this would be a good alternative to that. But you can't put it up in your living room. Other people can't use it, you know. So depending on who you are, that makes sense. And then really like hoping that we'll talk about this on another episode, but these like 3D experiences that they have keep getting better and they keep investing in them because they can't be cheap. And there's like 1% of one person watching them because like only so many people have Apple Visions. But yeah. Anyways, the next thing that we're going to talk about is the opposite side of the spectrum. Is Apple making something cheaper that's really, really good? And that's the iPhone SE coming out in early 2025.
Nice. So yeah, this is supposed to have just one camera, but it's also supposed to be, I think, the iPhone, is it the 12 or 14 form factor? 14 form factor, which is quite interesting because it'll have one camera on the backside and then be an iPhone 14, which we've never seen. But then no home button, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and that upgrade of RAM also helps them enable Apple Intelligence at a price point of like $500. So this is a big change. I mean, if you were someone who like, once you heard about Apple Intelligence, were like, okay, I have to get an iPhone 15 Pro or I have to get an iPhone 16, that you're looking at about like, I guess, 800.
At least.
And now this is 500, delivering the same features. And at least today, it's absolutely going to be the same and the same speed. Maybe in time, we'll see some of those differences where it's better to have a Pro phone for Apple Intelligence. But yeah, that's great. I think that's really impressive. And it shows also that Apple is going to be putting this on all products going forward.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the sales numbers on the 16 and the 16 Pro. I just got mine on vacation. I found it's out of stock everywhere almost. And I think this week they started getting stuff in, and I checked if they had like the color and the thing I wanted, 16 Pro Max and the new color. And I just jumped from wherever I was. We were just eating dinner. I was like, "There's an Apple store here. Let me check." It was closing in 5 minutes, and I ran out to get it. And I have to say that without the Apple Intelligence, I just installed the beta. We were just talking about, I just applied for it, so I'll have it this week, hopefully. But without the Apple Intelligence, it feels exactly like my old phone. It literally, like, nothing besides the action button and the camera button, which I've not trained myself to use yet.
Yeah.
It's almost exactly the same. Nothing about it feels snappier. Nothing about it feels that much better. And so at whatever, I think the price point there is like $1,200. It's hard to imagine without the new upgrade. So at $500, waiting, a couple more months, it's supposed to be Q1 2025. We'll see if that gets pushed back. You're getting, 90% of what I would be getting on this Pro phone without the cameras and stuff like that. It's really not a lot that you're missing.
Yeah.
And for the average person, that's like a great deal. That's a great value proposition in my mind, that you get all these new features, a new phone, and a really good camera for $500. This is a no-brainer for a ton of people who are waiting to upgrade.
Yeah, I always love seeing base products get better and better. Like, I think a lot of people still pay attention to the Apple Watch series, whatever it is now, and the Ultra. But the Apple Watch SE, every time I see that, I'm like, I mean, this is a great watch at a reasonable price. And that's what this SE feels like. I think in a certain period of time, SE products from Apple were like, oh yeah, the SE. But now they're getting great, and like this is going, like you're saying, it's going to have those features. So unless you need to always be zooming your camera and you want optical zoom on your lens, and unless you're going to be doing, I guess, whatever the Pro things are and want a better refresh rate, all that stuff, it's kind of it's a no-brainer for a lot of people.
You know what I do most of the time though? I could see the quality difference dip when I get to that lens that's zoomed in. And so most of the time I just get closer and, use the good lens, and the ultra wide is the thing you're missing out on, not necessarily the zoom lens.
Yeah, I've actually been surprised. The 5X isn't as good as I hoped quality wise. I'm coming from a 14 Pro that had the 3X lens, and that was always like, I felt like 1-to-1 quality wise. I don't know if it's something in software, but when I go to the 5X, I'm always like, not quite as crisp as I had hoped. Yeah.
These Pro models don't have as many features. We're just Apple junkies or whatever, but these Pro models don't have as many features as you think they will,
Yeah.
And so really this SE is going to be the greatest value proposition that Apple has. It will hopefully get more people into these Apple Intelligence features. And, they're talking about the 16 sales, which nobody knows. I hate reading these articles that say, like, 16 sales are off kilter or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get real reports on the ground, and they're like, this is a bigger launch than last year was.
Yeah.
And so nobody's going to know until they release quarter numbers. And then even then, like Matt talks about how the quarter numbers are like not, it's just like handheld sales. You're not going to get like them parsed out and know which ones sold well or not. But I'm excited to see this, come to the forefront and more people upgrade, because it's not an $800 upgrade, it's a $500 upgrade.
Yeah, and so everyone's going to have whatever Apple Intelligence ends up being sometime next year. Anyone who buys a new iPhone, whether it's cheap or expensive, is going to have these features, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.